the threshing, what he says about the threshing floor and about the wine press, the law stated that when I was threshing my grain, which was just a mechanism that used to separate the seed from the chaff, which was the outfalling of the seed, the outward of the seed. They ate the actual seed part. The other, it's like a sift. And it's a small version, it's a large version of a sift. He said if anything, the law was that if anything fell over the side, you were to leave it. Because the priests and the widows and the homeless would come along and pick that up, and that would be theirs. He said you weren't to go and try to clean it up or whatnot, but whatever fell over out of your baskets or whatever fell to the side, you were to leave it. You can reference that back to like Esther. When they were in the field, she went behind Mordecai's servants, and whatever they dropped, he said you can go and pick up behind them. So she would go behind them and fill up her, Ruth, right, you would go back and fill up her baskets, and you would go back,
leave a little extra,
you would leave extra whatnot, so yeah. But it was the law said that you were supposed to do that. You weren't supposed to be greedy, so to speak, and try to get everything you can. But if anything fell, you let the homeless come along and eat it. You let those that don't have widows come along and eat it. And the principle went back to everybody's getting taken care of.
Right.
The principle was everybody gets taken care of. It wasn't a thing where, and this is something I wanted to point out. The law never established that everything went to one central place and the central place distributed to everybody else. He said you were the distribution center.
Right.
It wasn't the temple. It wasn't the priest of the church. You were the distribution center. He said, so of the offering that you give unto me, you should distribute that unto the people that need it.
Because you still done it unto him.
That was
so he would get the glory.
By the law, he was teaching them take care of each other.
Right.
Take care of one another. And if you notice, it was never to supply so that the temple, quote unquote, the church would have better walls, a nice marble floor, that we can do this. The principle of tithing was not for it. Yeah, the principle of the tithing was not for the temple. It was for the people. It was for the people. But we're talking today, it's for the building.
And see, and that's what I messed up. So many folks, the interior China, it ain't about that.
Well, and
it wasn't them better when they didn't have it.
Well, David took up an offering to erect this mighty temple, but it was an offering. It was not
it was not a tithe.
He said, look, I want to build this to God. Give me what you got. They gave him a gold
and really, people that weren't even of the nation of Israel did that.
Yeah.
He took up from Israel, but actually, they talk about Cyrus sending wood and ivory and gold, and Egypt sent all of this mass number of gold and stuff like that to build it. But none of that was time.
Right.
None of that was time. And I want to show all these scriptures because we will be told, like where it says in Malachi, tithe, give the tithe unto me that there be meat in my storehouse. And we misquote that, or we misinterpret that as to say that store it up here, that there'll be stuff here to eat. But what he was saying is give to each other that as I get the glory, people will glorify me, that it comes from me. That you will always tithe, that everybody will always have something to eat. Nobody goes hungry, nobody goes clothesless, nobody goes destitute, because the people of God, which he was representing him as me, he said, you always got stuff to give.
So it's the same principle Jesus was talking about all along. When you give, when you've done to the little of us, you've done to me.
You've done to me.
It's the same
to help 1 John 3. He says,
when they started the church, established the church.
1 John 3, which I'm going to turn to as well, he said, I think it's in verse 15, if any man, let me go there. Let me go there. Hold on. You got to turn there. I'll read it right quick.
That just shows how much God is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
And that's another thing I want to point out, that the principle of tithing never changed. But it's the bondage of the letter that we placed ourselves under. We placed ourselves under the bondage of the letter. And even in that, which I didn't think about before, but in this study God brought to light, we've even perverted that. We've even perverted even the law, which Christ came to deliver us anyway, but not only are we placing ourselves under the bondage of the law, but we're placing ourselves under the bondage of a perverted law.
Right.
That's not even the true law.
Too far ahead.